My secret Santa knew my scars, and that's when I realized he was the one who caused them. They say Christmas is about giving, but no one warns you what it feels like when someone gives you proof that they never stopped watching you break. This is the story of how my secret Santa knew my deepest wounds, and how I discovered the betrayal hiding behind a smiling desk 2 rows away. What followed wasn't rage. It was precision. Before I continue, please subscribe to my channel to see more interesting stories. Thank you. The gift that knew my pain. New York City. The first gift arrived on December 5th. No name. No card. Just a neatly wrapped box under the office Christmas tree in Midtown Manhattan. My name written in handwriting I didn't recognize. Inside was a silver locket. Not just any locket. The exact one I lost 8 years ago after my breakup with Marcus. The man who left me shattered, jobless, and quietly suicidal. My chest tightened. Inside the locket was a folded note. For when the nights get loud again. I hadn't told anyone about those nights. Not my coworkers. Not HR. Not even my therapist in Chicago back when I started over. Around me, laughter echoed. Coffee machines hummed. Christmas playlists played softly like nothing had just cracked me open. I forced a smile, but my hands were shaking. Because this wasn't coincidence. This wasn't kindness. This was someone reminding me they knew where I bled. And as I looked around the office, at familiar faces wrapped in holiday cheer, I realized something terrifying. My secret Santa wasn't guessing. They were remembering. The second gift was a warning. New York City. The second gift came 3 days later. A leather-bound journal. My initials engraved. Inside, the first page was already written. March 14th, 2017. Chicago. The night you begged him not to leave. My breath vanished. That date lived only in my memory, and in a voicemail I deleted years ago. I turned the page. You cried in the bathroom so no one at the restaurant would hear. I slammed the journal shut. Someone in this office had been there. Or worse, had been listening. That afternoon, I noticed things. How Daniel from finance watched me too long. How my manager, Lucas, avoided eye contact. How the new hire from Seattle seemed too familiar with my coffee order. Paranoia crept in. But beneath it was something colder. Calculation. Because if someone wanted to unearth my past, they underestimated how carefully I'd buried it. And how dangerous I could be once I started digging back. A name from a life I killed. Flashback, Chicago. The third gift didn't come in wrapping. It came via email. Subject line. You still flinch when doors slam. The sender? Attached was an audio file. My voice. Crying. Begging Marcus not to leave me in that Chicago apartment with nothing but ambition and unpaid bills. I felt sick. That recording was private. Sent once. To one person. Marcus. My ex. The man who destroyed me, then disappeared. And suddenly the truth clicked like a blade sliding into place. This wasn't a coworker's prank. This was someone connected to him. Someone who knew my collapse because they watched it happen or helped cause it. And for the first time since Christmas began, I smiled. Because if Marcus was involved, he'd made one fatal mistake. He forgot who rebuilt me. Seattle taught me how to watch quietly. Seattle. Years ago, after Chicago, I disappeared to Seattle. New job. New name on LinkedIn. New silence. That's where I learned something valuable. People reveal everything when they think they're unseen.
So I did what I do best now.
I observed. I reviewed email metadata. I tracked IP overlaps between work servers and personal accounts. I cross-checked calendars. And one name kept surfacing. Lucas Grant. My manager. The man who recommended me for this New York role. The man who always knew when I was having a rough day. The man who once casually mentioned Marcus's old startup. Something I'd never spoken about. The gifts weren't random. They were rehearsed. And Lucas wasn't just watching me. He was studying me. Austin was where the trap began. Austin, Texas. I didn't confront Lucas. I invited him. A company-sponsored retreat in Austin. Casual drinks. Live music. Lower defenses. I laughed. I drank. I played the part. And when Lucas mentioned Marcus's name, accidentally, I watched his face carefully. The flicker. The guilt. The confidence. That night, I opened my laptop and began building something beautiful. Not revenge fueled by anger, but exposure powered by truth. Because if Lucas thought Christmas was about reminding me who broke me, he was about to learn what happens when the woman you tried to haunt decides to finish the story. I let him think I was breaking again. Austin, Texas. I stopped sleeping on purpose. Dark circles became part of my costume. Missed deadlines. Shaky hands. Silence in meetings. Lucas noticed immediately. "You okay, Evelyn?" he asked softly one morning, handing me coffee like a savior. I nodded.
Leet.
Let my voice crack. That afternoon, another gift appeared on my desk. A scarf. The same shade of blue Marcus once wrapped around my neck the night he left, telling me I'd be fine while packing his future into boxes. Inside the scarf was a tag. Some habits never die. Lucas watched me open it. He masked his reaction well, but not well enough. He wanted to see me unravel.
So I did.
Just not the way he expected. Because broken women are underestimated. And underestimated women are dangerous. The Christmas party lie. Austin, Texas. The company Christmas party was loud, glittering, careless.
Perfect.
I slipped away from the dance floor and checked my phone. Another anonymous message. "You always leave parties early when you're scared." I smiled. Because only one person here knew that about me. Later, as I pretended to cry in the bathroom, I recorded everything. Lucas on the balcony, whispering into his phone. "I think she suspects nothing," he said. "No, she's still fragile." Fragile. That word followed me for years like a curse, but hearing it now felt like power. Because while he thought I was shrinking, I was collecting receipts. Marcus finally shows his hand. New York City. Back in New York, my phone rang from a blocked number. I answered. Silence. Then a familiar voice. "Evelyn, you always hated surprises." Marcus. 8 years later, and he sounded amused. "You enjoying the gifts?" he asked. My chest burned, but my voice stayed calm. "I don't know what you're talking about." He laughed. "I told Lucas you'd pretend." Lucas. So, it wasn't just betrayal. It was collaboration. They'd bonded over my downfall. Used my pain as a bonding exercise. And suddenly, everything made sense. The gifts. The timing. The precision. They weren't trying to hurt me. They were trying to own me again. Seattle prepared me for men like them. Flashback, Seattle. Seattle taught me patience. It taught me how to build quiet leverage. So I did what I always do when men think they're smarter than me. I widened the frame. I contacted Marcus's former partners. Lucas's ex-colleagues. Old HR complaints buried under settlements. Patterns emerged. Manipulation. Gaslighting. Power games disguised as mentorship. They hadn't just hurt me. They'd practiced on others. Which meant my revenge wouldn't be personal. It would be systemic. I became their favorite story until I rewrote it. New York City. The final gift before Christmas arrived early. A framed photo.
Me.
Taken outside my Seattle apartment years ago. On the back, a message. "We made you who you are." That's when I stopped shaking. Because they were wrong. They didn't make me. They exposed themselves to the one woman who knew how to dismantle narratives. Professionally. I placed the photo on my desk where Lucas could see it. And I smiled at him. Not broken. Not afraid. Ready. I let the office watch me fall. New York City. The week before Christmas, I stopped pretending to be okay. I cried in meetings. Missed a presentation. Left early with red eyes and shaking hands. Lucas stepped in, heroic, composed. "I'll cover for Evelyn," he told the team. "She's been fragile." The word again. And the office absorbed it like truth. What they didn't see was the file growing on my laptop at night. Emails forwarded, calls transcribed, timestamps aligned. Every concern Lucas voiced about my performance contradicted glowing feedback from clients.
He wasn't protecting me. He was rewriting me.
And rewrites leave trails. Chicago came back with teeth. Chicago. I flew to Chicago quietly. Same streets. Same cold air. Different woman. I met with my former landlord, the one Marcus convinced to evict me early. Then my old boss, who suddenly lost funding after Marcus left. Stories overlapped. Pressure. Influence. Phone calls from Lucas's consulting firm, years before I ever met him. That's when the betrayal cut deepest. Lucas hadn't found Marcus through me. Marcus had sent Lucas to me. This wasn't nostalgia. It was grooming. The gift I gave myself. New York City. I stopped accepting gifts. Instead, I sent one. An email to HR. Subject: request for mediation, psychological harassment. Attached were timelines, audio files, comparative performance reviews.
No accusations.
Just facts. I watched Lucas's face change when HR requested a meeting. The confidence slipped. For the first time, he wasn't directing the narrative. Marcus tried to warn me. Phone call, unknown location. Marcus called again. This isn't smart, he said. You're opening doors you can't close. I smiled. You open them first. He went quiet. Because men like Marcus don't fear justice. They fear exposure. And I had learned something crucial. They needed me silent, which meant I was finally dangerous. Christmas isn't about forgiveness. New York City. At the office holiday luncheon, Lucas raised a toast. To resilience, he said, eyes on me.
People clapped.
I clapped too. Because the investigation had begun. Because HR had contacted legal. Because what he thought was sympathy was actually surveillance. And as snow fell outside the glass windows, I realized this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about ending a cycle. The investigation was louder than I expected. New York City. HR didn't move quietly. They never do when lawyers are involved. Suddenly, meetings were rescheduled. Email threads went silent. Lucas stopped checking in. Instead, compliance officers appeared. One sat across from me with a calm voice and sharper eyes. When did the gift start? She asked. I answered slowly. Each word felt like placing a stone on a scale. By the time I finished, the scale tipped. The office noticed the shift. New York City. People began watching Lucas the way they used to watch me.
He spoke less.
Smiled too much. A junior associate whispered, "Is he okay?" I almost laughed. That's how fast narratives flip when truth enters the room. I didn't gloat. I just stopped shrinking. Marcus lost his distance. Phone call, late night. Marcus called drunk. You think you won, he slurred. You still need us.
Us.
That word disgusted me. I survived you, I said. I don't need you to fall. I just won't hold you up anymore. He hung up. I recorded it anyway. The gift that ended the game. New York City. The final Secret Santa gift appeared on Christmas Eve. A resignation letter. And signed. Typed on company letterhead. Left on Lucas's desk. HR saw it before he did. That wasn't my doing. That was panic. Silence is the loudest consequence. New York City. Lucas didn't come in after Christmas. No farewell email.
No explanation.
Just absence. Marcus stopped calling. And for the first time in years, my phone was quiet. Peaceful. But I wasn't finished yet. Because the most important truth still hadn't been spoken aloud. And truth, when released properly,
destroys myths.
The truth needed a witness. New York City. I didn't leak anything. That was the difference between revenge and justice. Instead, I accepted an invitation to speak on a company-wide panel about workplace mental health and power dynamics, a January initiative Lucas himself had once championed. I told my story without names. But patterns have fingerprints. By the time I finished, the room was silent. Because every executive present knew exactly who I was talking about. Chicago spoke back. Chicago. Marcus's former startup made the news. A civil case reopened. Old partners came forward. Funding evaporated overnight. He texted me once. Was this you? I didn't reply. Truth doesn't need credit. Lucas tried to rewrite history. LinkedIn, public. Lucas resurfaced with a post. Sometimes misunderstandings end careers. The comments didn't go how he hoped. Former employees replied. Screenshots appeared. HR statements followed. His narrative collapsed in public. Not because I spoke louder, but because others finally felt safe enough to speak at all. The last gift was mine. New York City. I mailed one package. No note. No threat. Just the silver locket returned. Inside it, a single line. You don't own what you broke. That was all. Christmas finally felt quiet. New York City, 1 year later. The following Christmas, I volunteered to organize Secret Santa again. Different office. Different life. When I received my gift, it was simple. A candle. A card. Thank you for making this place safer. I smiled. Because the most powerful revenge isn't destruction. It's survival that changes the rules. Some betrayals don't scream. They whisper. But silence doesn't mean weakness. It means patience. And sometimes, the most poetic justice is letting the truth finish the story they thought they controlled. Thank you for listening to my story. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos.
Thank you.